Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain episode 430. Andrew here, and it is my birthday tomorrow. So, happy birthday eve to me. I was born in the afternoon sometime in California, which is where I live. So, I turn 46 tomorrow afternoon around 1 o'clock or so, thereabouts, if I'm remembering correctly. So, huzzah. Gotta go shopping tonight. Maybe I'll pick up a slice of carrot cake to celebrate. Because carrot cake is best cake. Alright. So, new Disney show, or rather, new Marvel show on Disney Plus. Wonder Man. I watched it. Pretty good. Um, it's one of those it's 8 episodes. The episodes are about half an hour. Hey, Cass, thank you. Um, I got to episode 6, and I thought, wow, this is pretty good. Not revelatory or anything, but I'm quite enjoying it. It's paced well. No problems. But we're heading into the penultimate and final episode, and this is usually where the Disney TV shows based on the Marvel and Star Wars properties typically drop the ball. You know, um, even some of the most highly regarded or even just subjectively my personal favorites. I really liked WandaVision. The ending, it's not as strong. I quite liked Miss Marvel. The ending, not as strong. So I was watching Wonder Man and I quite liked it. And I was like, oh man, is the ending, are they going to face plant the ending? Well, no, no. They had the ball and they did not drop it. Didn't do anything like particularly fancy or impressive with the ball, but they held on to the ball throughout the entire thing. I would say that Wonder Man certainly does not feature the highest of highs that any of the Marvel TV shows have, but I think it may be the most consistent. It doesn't drop the ball or faceplant on its ending, and it doesn't really drag. It doesn't have like a dip somewhere in the middle, which was something that really plagued the Netflix Marvel shows a decade ago. Because those were all 13 episode runs, with the exception of the Defenders, I think. Um, and none of them needed to be. Like, all of them were 3 episodes or so too long. They all were like, "Oh man, Daredevil! Oh, this is really good. I'm really enjoying it." And then we'd get to like a span of 3 episodes and be like spinning its wheels. And each of the episodes were like 50 minutes long. So that's a that's a feature length. That's more than a feature length movie of spinning your wheels. So Wonder Man, I quite liked it. The relationship and chemistry between Simon, the Wonder Man, and I forget the actor's name. He's got a name much more interesting than like Steve. But he played the Manta Ray bad guy in the Aquaman movies. Can't remember the actor's name. He's great though. And of course, Trevor Slattery, the actor who played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. It is, you know what show Wonder Man kind of reminds me of? The anime Oshinoko Koi. Oh, what shit? What's the name of the show? Do I have it right? Let me. Oshino Ko. Um, a show that's about entertainment media, television, theater, YouTube-ing, that kind of a thing. Wonder Man is specifically about movies and theater to a lesser extent, but primarily film and television. And it's really a look at actors and acting and the industry and the people in it. I don't think it's as interesting or goes as hard as Oshinoko does, but Oshinoko is also a longer story, and this is 8 half-hour episodes. So, um, yeah, I quite liked Wonder Man. It's consistently entertaining. It's not revelatory. It's not like it's nothing. I don't think it's anything that I go out and grab someone by the collar. You must watch. But I'm like, if you're gonna watch it, I enjoyed it throughout its entire run and was pleased that it didn't face plant. So damning with faint praise, maybe, but I had a good time with the show. So Wonder Man, yay. Um, Still playing Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and still having a good time. Although I was playing it this afternoon, and I will admit, I lost my temper and I had to stop playing because I was fighting some monster monster person who was cheating. This boss monster person was not respecting the turn order. I feel, or I'm mistaken, or there's some mechanic that I'm not understanding. But, I'd look at the turn order and go, okay, monster's turn. Monster would smack me in the face, or I'd parry or whatever. I'd go like, okay, Miles up next. And I'd be like, all right, so I'm going to do... And they'd smack me again. I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's not your turn. You want to take another turn? Hey, man, I fight everything that I come across, whether I should or not. A lot of the monsters are high level and, like, really fast, so they have, like, 3 turns. But if they have 3 turns before me, that's fine, man. Put your ass in the queue. Put your name on the board. I expect to see your gleaming mug in the turn order. If you're not in the turn order, it ain't your turn, you big old jerk. So, yeah, Chaos says, haven't really played much of anything in over a year. Too much time at work. Oof, I hear that. Yeah. Um, work is Work is definitely a thing for me too. I'm glad to have work. I hope I don't lose work. That is a concern. 10% of us lost our jobs like a couple of months ago, so yeah. But so I got kind of surly at that boss, but I still beat it, but I was getting, because it does consistently do that. So it's either something I'm misunderstanding or it's meant to be like, aha, this boss sneaks in an extra attack. Oh, sneaky, sneaky. Nah, I'm like, you're cheating. I don't respect you now. I'm not progressing in the narrative of Clair Obscur very quickly because I keep getting new tools which allow me to explore more of the overworld. So instead of going to the next plot relevant place, I'm like, oh, new areas have opened up. Time to go exploring. Or I get like, to say euphemistically to avoid spoilers, at one point you get the bombs. And it's like, hey, you remember all those cracked walls you saw? Here's some bombs. So you can go throw bombs at the cracked wall and see what's hiding behind them. It's like, oh, now I have to go back through all the other levels and look for those. I remember where a couple of them are. One thing that I found interesting is I remembered where like 2 of the bombable walls were. Um, but continuing on from there, I've only found 1 bombable wall, and it was like earlier today. I'm like, are there no... Once you get the bombs, are there no bombable walls past that point, or am I just missing all of them? There's at least 1. Um, but a day or 2 ago, I finally got the ability to explore, I think, the entirety of the map. There are still some areas that I cannot go to because they're behind a barrier of some manner. but I have my run of the entire overworld. And as I was wandering around place to place, every single place I could get to before I actually go to the plot relevant place, I looked up and I saw the paintress sitting there. I'm like, oh shit, I'm all the way at the very end of the world map. I'm like, I should go over there and kick her in the toe. She's a big girl. I can't reach her knee. So I went over there, not expecting much. I figured there'd be like a barrier of some sort that would keep me from reaching her tootsies until the very end of the game. And indeed there is. But one thing I was particularly tickled to see is there's actually a short cutscene that plays if you approach the paintress too early. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. I like that they added that. They didn't have to do that. That was a nice touch. But what I'm trying to figure out is one of the things I mentioned during the Clair Obscur stream is I was trying to figure out how far away the paintress was from where you start out, Lumiere, your little broken town where you live, because you're looking out across the pond and it's like I don't know how big she is, but it looks like she might be like a mile or maybe 3 miles away. Doesn't look that far. Pretty short sail across the way. But as you start the game, live at work, sleep at home. Oh man. Oh shit! Commercials popping up. God damn it, YouTube! I forgot to. I'm sorry. I forgot to. I have to do this every time, and I forgot. Hang on a second. Turn that shit off. Thank you for telling me, Chaos. I forgot to. Mid-roll ads are now automatically inserted into live streams. There is, as far as I can tell, there is no default to turn that off. So I have to remember to manually turn that off every time for each individual live stream every time I create one. So, yeah, I'm gonna forget about that. I apologize. Um, did I attempt to fight Sprong? I don't know what Sprong is, so uh, maybe. I've attempted to fight most everything I've come across, and I've been able to beat everything. I think there's been like two enemies that are clearly so far ahead of me that it's like this would take an out because I'm doing like even Mael doing her damage cap is doing like chip damage. It's like okay, this even if I managed to, they're one-shotting me, I would have to perfect parry everything for like an hour. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna miss one at some point. So I'll come back a little later. So there's been a couple, two, maybe three enemies that I've like, oh, okay, I'll try to remember to come back to this one later. But most of the stuff I've come across that I've managed to beat. There's been a few of them that have given me quite the run for my money. There's one that um yeah, there's one that does like a 7-hit combo that is really, really fast and it comes out real quick, and it's the different moves are very, very staggered in a weird way that makes it pretty difficult to get the timing down. Luckily, very few of the monsters have more than like three different attacks, so once you've got the timing, it takes me a little while to actually learn them, but it's not like they've all got 15 different moves, so you can get them after a while. Um, just put a post-it note. Oh, big guy in the water. Oh, is that a guy? I think I know who you're talking about. I don't know if I approached him. I thought it was just like he doesn't move, so or doesn't really move much. So I figured it was just like one of the what are they called? Nevron statue things. I don't think I even tried. I should try. I don't. I think I remember who. I think I know which one that is. I don't think I actually approached it. Does it? Yeah. Huh. Huh. Um. Yeah. I'll have to. I'll have to give that a go. Um. What was I talking about? Oh, the thing I was talking about is like the thing that was weirding me out is I couldn't figure out. I was like, how far away is the paintress? So you start the game, you get there, and you crash land on the shore, and the old guy with the cane, just bodies you, and I'm like, where are we? Where's the paintress? Did we get blown off course? And then eventually you get to a clearing where you can look out and you can see the paintress, and it's like it looks like she's about the same distance as she does from Lumiere, but we're also looking at her straight on like we were in Lumiere, which means we're between Lumiere and the paintress, but I didn't see any land between Lumiere and the paintress. And now that I've had my run of the world map, this game doesn't make any sense geographically because there's a bunch of land masses like tall mountains between Lumiere and the paintress. You should not be able to see the paintress. Like from Lumiere, you can pretty much see her feet. And I was wondering if she's like up on a plinth or standing on top, like on a very raised piece of land. No, she's sitting pretty much right on the shoreline. You should not be able to see her. She should be obstructed by all the land masses. Hell, she appears to be so damn far away. Like it's really difficult to judge on the world map is not to scale, so it's difficult to figure out how far that's supposed to be, but it seems like it's at least something like 40 miles, which means that you wouldn't be able to see all of her. She'd be half obscured by the curvature of the earth, let alone all the mountains and shit in front of her. Um, Also, now that I've been right up to her, if she is like 40 some miles away, she's huge, but she's not that big. She would not appear as large as she is. So, immersion blown. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Clair Obscur is not very realistic. Someone's probably mathed that out at some point, like uh how large she is, what distance from Lumiere she is, and like how if there was nothing in front of her, how much of the Earth's curvature should be obscuring her. Like I think we're on Earth. I mean, maybe it's not a maybe the fracture flattened out the Earth or made it concave. Who knows? Um, but no, I'm still having a grand old time with the game. I think it's quite fun. I think where it's a lot of places it's really succeeding is the writing. The characters are genuinely likable, and there's a lot of stuff that's really damn funny for as dark as this game can get in places. Um, so uh, enjoying it so far. Hopefully it doesn't drop the ball or face plant like you know some of the television shows I was talking about tend to do. I mean, even if it does, I'm having a great time with a bad ending doesn't mean everything before is negated, but it, if one part of your um, art has to suck, make sure it's not the last thing people experience. Put it in the middle somewhere. Strong start keeps people there, strong ending sends them home happy. You start crap, people might not stick around. You end crap, people will remember the crap. So if you gotta have crap, put it in the middle somewhere. Um. Oh, pardon me. Goodness. Let's see. Oops. Where's my topic list? Oh, okay. So, yes, birthday's tomorrow. So, a couple days ago, my sister and I recorded an upcoming episode of Movie Mandates, and I opened my present from her, which has been sitting here for a couple weeks, and she got me Jujutsu Kaisen, a manga. Had I ever expressed interest in this? No. Um, is this something she really likes and wanted to share with me? No. She just wanted to get me a new manga for my birthday, and she went to a bookstore and she asked the clerk for a recommendation. She said, "My brother likes Yu Yu Hakusho, but he thinks Dragon Ball Z is garbage in every conceivable way. So what might he like?" And apparently they pointed her to Jujutsu Kaisen, which I actually recognize the name because it's streaming right now. So um, must be a fairly recent show. Well, I guess it mustn't be. What's the copyright on this? When was this written? Where's the copyright page on this damn thing? There we go. 20 2019. Okay, so yeah, fairly recent show. Um, Sadly, I have read this. I read this last night. I don't think it's very good, unfortunately. It's got a strong premise. So let me read the back. Although Yuji Itadori looks like your average teenager, his immense physical strength is something to behold. Every sports club wants him to join, but Itadori would rather hang out with the school outcasts in the occult research club. One day, the club manages to get their hands on a sealed, cursed object. Little do they know the terror they'll unleash when they break the seal. Um, to give a bit more of the premise, the cursed object that they break the seal on is a finger of a demon monster thing. And the demon monster thing had 4 arms, so there's 20 in all, right? So, what our hero learns is that he might be able to contain the spirit, so he swallows the finger, thinking that he might be able to just contain it before its evil kills all his friends. He's just a really nice guy who doesn't want anyone to get hurt. So even though the eating a finger is gross and it might kill him, he thinks, well, hey, maybe I can keep the evil contained. And like the back of the box says, he's very physically strong, so he can manage it. So the men in black essentially are like, hey kid, we're gonna recruit you, and we need you to go around and find the other 19 fingers and eat those too, to keep the world safe. Then we're going to kill you because if you die with all the fingers inside you, I guess he doesn't actually pass them at any point, but oh man, that would be terrible if he passes the finger and he just has to eat it again just to keep it in there. Oh, don't want to think about that. So the interesting premise. We're going on an adventure to find the evil objects, and I have to eat them to contain them. And once they're all contained, then my life might be forfeit, just so that they can't get. Because if the container dies with everything inside, it goes away apparently. And it's like, well, it's for the greater good. That's a fine premise, I think. There's 3 seasons of it. Okay. The problem I have with it is it's not interesting. It's not boring. The art is not very good. The action is difficult to follow panel to panel in a few places. The characters are flat and underdrawn. Um, it feels like someone was a fan of Yu Yu Hakusho but had no understanding of why it works. Um, so yeah, now to be clear, I've only read, the first book, and I checked my library, and they don't carry the rest of these. So maybe I'll check out the first few episodes of the anime, get a little bit further in the story, because it's a strong premise, I think. But um, yeah, it's off to not a bad start, just not a good one. There's just like, other than a solid premise and a couple funny jokes, a couple great there's a some kid is being menaced by a ghost demon monster. It's got him by the scruff of the neck, and the the girl, whatever her name is like, you put that child down so I can beat you with this here hammer. And the ghost is like, well, no, I'm definitely not doing that now. Oh no, we're at a stalemate. And then suddenly, what's his name? Um, Itadori, uh, his fist comes punching through the wall behind the ghost, and then stops right next to the ghost demon thing's head. And the ghost looks at the fist, and the girl with the hammer looks at the fist, and Itadori looks through the hole in the wall and goes, "Oh, I missed." I'm like, okay, that's a pretty funny gag. Because he was doing the thing, how you saw RoboCop, where RoboCop, punches through the wall and grabs the guy. That's what he was going for, and he just completely whiffed it. That's funny. I like that. So there's a few good moments, but yeah, the characters are all flat, uninteresting in one note. The humor is mostly just pretty obvious and not funny. There's nothing particularly special about the art or the character design. As I mentioned, in fact, some of the action can be a little difficult to follow panel to panel. But these are all things that I've seen plenty of stories in manga and other comic books that start pretty rough. Have a solid central idea and start pretty unimpressive, but as it finds its footing, it picks up steam and becomes a great story. So maybe Jujutsu Kaisen is one of those. Or maybe it's just a very middling, bland story. Who knows? Um, Again, maybe I'll check out some of the anime since my library is not carrying the book. um, Also, it's kind of annoying because in order to read this, I have to take out my contacts because I can't. Yeah, I have to be about a foot and a half. Let's see. Yeah, I have to be about I'd rather be at this distance, but that's a little boy. I have to be about that distance, so maybe 2 feet. You know, and if I'm lying, reclining in bed or something, I want to. Well, I don't have my book that close, but yeah, I have to take my contacts out in order to read anything comfortably. Particularly since I'm looking and admiring all the art and stuff like that. I can read it okay, but I want to actually examine the art and pick up on the fine details. You've seen me play video games. I stand around and stare at stuff. Um, so yeah. So Suikoden. I Steve Raberdeen was one of my patrons for a while, and I owe him 4 um, Patreon reward videos. And what he wanted was to see me play and talk about Suikoden. But the Suikoden collection, which came out earlier last year, was delayed by like a year. So by the time the damn thing actually came out, and by the time I actually, finished it and started, we'd passed like the 4th anniversary. So it's like, okay, we'll do a Sunday stream for Suikoden 1, which we did last April, I believe. A video talking about my thoughts on Suikoden 1, which I released this week. And then we'll do a video on Suikoden 2. Or I'm sorry, a Sunday stream for Suikoden 2, which we'll do once we finish Cold Steel 2. And then I'll continue playing it through the... Hopefully it doesn't take me all damn year. And then I'll do a video on Suikoden 2. Now, if you saw my video, it's about 12 minutes long. I actually took a lot of notes, and I had a lot of things that didn't make the script, didn't make the cut. So, thought I'd talk about some stuff, some observations and opinions from Suikoden 1 that didn't make the video. Some of these are positive things. Some of these are just things that I saw that I found amusing, and some of them are other criticisms I have of the game. This first one is a criticism. The runes are not well explained. There are a bunch of ways, as they talk about in the video, there's 108 characters, and you have to level them up individually, you have to upgrade their individual weapons, you have to equip them with armor, they all have their own inventories that you have to manage, but you can also equip each of them with an orb, which gives them access to spells or other different improvements or special moves. And there are also runes which you can attach to your weapons, which apparently add an element, but it's not really clear what that does. Like, you can add the wind rune to your sword, and now you've got a wind sword, but it's really not clear what that does. I mean, I would assume some enemies are weaker to some elements than others, and if you've got a wind sword, you do more damage, but it's not really visually clear, and if it's explained, I didn't think it was explained well, or perhaps I missed it or fell asleep. Who knows? Um, I also could not figure out there's a in addition to elemental runes, there are also stat runes. Like there's a luck rune and a strength rune, but I couldn't figure out how to use them. Like the wind rune, the earth rune, the fire rune, those all attach to your weapons, no problem. But the luck rune, the strength rune, I I, I don't know how to use them. They don't seem to attach to any. Like intuitively, I'm like, oh, the luck rune I attach to my weapon, and that increases my luck stat, which is your chance to crit, I think, if I'm remembering right. But they don't attach. I don't know what I was doing wrong. Also, the orbs, which give you special moves, are pretty cumbersome and also kind of limited, particularly in the because it's kind of like D&D rules where you have so many casts you can do in a day before you have to take a nap, which means that early on in the game you've got like one spell and one cast of it. So if you're like me, it's like, oh well, I better save this for something important, and you end up never casting the damn spell, right? So it gets better later in the game when you have more options and more abilities to actually cast spells, but I like the idea behind what they're doing, but as I said, it's just a bit cumbersome. One positive thing that I touched on very briefly um, is the sprite animations. There's a lot of unique and bespoke sprite animations that are really adorable, like the dancer lady. She has a couple twirly twirly animations which are cute. There's a couple individual animations. Like there's a bit where I showed off in the video where Tyr drops to his knees over the well, what's left of Gremio. It has a couple bespoke animations throughout the game, and they're quite well done. I liked it. Um, Here's a weird one that's just a small nitpick. Uh, when you go through a doorway, it fades out from whatever scene you're in and fades in into the next scene on the other side of the doorway. Unfortunately, it positions your character like the pixel right next to the door that you just came through. So if you accidentally move even slightly towards the door instead of away from it, you'll go right back through. This is particularly noticeable in the basement where your teleportation station is, because you go down there and you immediately want to run to the left because your teleport person is standing to the left of the door right against the wall. So you go in there and you hit left, but if you just barely touch up, you go right back through the door. It's really annoying. The easy fix would be just when someone goes through a door, just put them like 10 pixels into the room. Just give them a little bit of a buffer so they don't accidentally walk back through the door that they came in. Here's another fun one. I love the fact that the dragons in the game make an elephant trumpet. You know the noise that elephants make. The dragon's roar is just an elephant sound. I don't know. I just found that really amusing. Another animation thing I really liked is the I actually touched on this very slightly. I talk about the Tyr goes and gets the blueprints for a weapon that will help the rebel army, and it's for flame spears. And now I'm thinking, oh, and I believe during the stream I made a joke about this. It's like we need blueprints just to light the tips of the spears on fire. Okay. Because I was thinking flaming sphere. Okay, no, it's a flamethrower. Um, I didn't have footage of that battle. And unfortunately, you only use them once. But you go into the battle, and it's like, all right, flame spears go. It's just with this huge wall of fire coming out of. I'm like, oh shit, flamethrowers. It's hilarious. And it's really funny. I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Um, I talked about how a lot of the plot beats aren't really fully fleshed out. Like the whole narrative feels like an outline just moving from plot beat to plot beat with very little connective tissue. Another example of that is at one point in the game it's revealed that there is a spy among us. Um and there's 108 of you, so who could it be? Um and so we need to be careful how we conduct ourselves because the that information, someone's leaking information to the evil empire and we don't know who it is. So who can we trust? What do we do? And the solution that they come up with to work around the spy is actually really, really cool. That part is well done, I thought. Um, but once it's like, haha, we successfully worked around the fact that we have a spy amongst our midst, for most of the rest of the story, it never comes up again. It's like, guys, you still got a spy. You gonna do anything about that spy? Seems kind of important. To be fair, it does come up again, but at it's only at the very end of the game. Um, and the so not to spoil it, the conclusion is not satisfying because there's like stuff happens that I don't want to spoil. Um, but the person never faces any meaningful consequences, which particularly in this day and age, I think is probably a sticking point for many of us. Um, Something I didn't get to talk about is there are little vignettes in the game. Again, 108 characters. There's a moment about two-thirds of the way through the game between two major story beats where the game takes a moment to check in on groups of your stars of destiny. It'll go it's like, hey, what's Tengar and the companion character's name? I forget. What are they doing? And it'll have a quick scene between them, and they'll go over to the ninjas and see what they're doing, and they'll go up on the rooftop where the landscaping where all the flower gardens is, and check out those people. And it moves to your various groups of characters with little short scenes to check in on them and see what they're doing. And it's charming and it's fun and it's really effective. It endears you to your characters and makes them feel like people. It's great. That's almost the only time the game does that, though. It's a lot of work, but I really think they should have tried to do that more often, maybe between like every chapter or every major plot beat. Um, Now there is a abbreviated version of that before the very final battle, but it only checks in on like two or three groups of people. It's even more brief. Um, and there is some post game scenes kind of, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Um, but what's there is quite effective. Uh, One of the things that happens towards the end of the game is they're like, hey, we've created ice boats out of dragon breath, so now we can do cross the for the river to do the thing. And it's like, not the biggest deal, but it was never really established that dragons could make ice boats or breathe cold. So that kind of comes out of, or I missed something again. It kind of comes out of nowhere, and you're like, huh, okay. Didn't know that was an option. um, one of the things I talk about is you do the army battles where you face off against the the major generals of the evil empire. One thing I think the game kind of drops the ball on is, for the most part, with the exception of Tyr's father, you don't get to know any of the generals really before you face them in the final battle. Like I feel they could have built these characters up a little bit more. Uh, because while Tyr clearly knows of them and who they are, I, as the player, do not. I'm like, who's this guy? Oh, it's that guy. Who's that guy? I'm like, great. I mean, he may have been standing around in like the very opening cutscene, but it's like, I have no history with this guy. I've never interacted with him. I don't know who they are. So when they finally fully commit to the dark side, or kill themselves, or kill one of your members, or join your party, or I'm just making up a bunch of stuff so as not to spoil anything, whatever happens to each character, it doesn't mean as much because I don't know who they are. You know, I think something to that perhaps they'll work on in the sequel. Um, there's another thing. It's like the final battle. You're heading in. Um, uh, the evil court magician Windy. She summons a monster army, 100,000 strong. Oh no, our army is only like 12,000, right? The armies that we've been facing so far have been only a couple thousand uh, infantry members above our own. We've been the underdog, but we've only been under by like maybe 15 to 20%. But Windy's army is 100,000, not just infantry soldiers, monsters, ogres, and dragons and stuff. Oh no, how tense, how suspenseful. But a magic lady, whose identity I won't identify, just goes, I'll get rid of them. And just zaps them all out of, sends them back whence they came. I'm like, oh. You don't even get to battle them, and it's like, you battle them, and it's going, we're never gonna survive. Look, it's Gandalf the White, coming over the hill to Helm's Deep, right? There's not that moment. It's just like, oh no, she's got an army of 100,000 monsters, and Magic Lady is like, well, that sucks for you. And tell you what, okay, all the monsters are gone. Now you're just fighting an army roughly comparable to you. They have about 10 to 15% more people than you do, but you have the power of video game protagonism. I'm sure you'll be fine. Like, it's not maybe not the most elegant handling of that. Runes, orbs, unite attacks, unite spells. That's not entirely clear, and something I didn't really understand until very late in the game, mainly because one of the books that you find for your library actually details it. I'm like, oh, is that how that works? Oh, okay. And I use the unite attacks and unite spells. I didn't use them until like the very end of the game. I think those could have been integrated better and explained better. And as I mentioned before, those stat runes, I still have no idea how they work. Speaking of having no idea how something works, one cool thing about the game is the more people you find, the more facilities open up in your hideout. So if you if you recruit a cook, you can feed your peeps. If you recruit the lady who runs the inn, she'll run an inn so you can have a place to nap and restore your health and magic points and stuff. If you recruit a merchant, he'll open up a merchant store in your hideout so you don't have to go running to the nearest town to buy stuff, right? So on and so forth. If you recruit a gambler, he has a little gambling den that you can play that three dice in the bowl game that you see in some of the early Yakuza games. Um, that you can use to make money because upgrading everyone's gosh darn equipment is really expensive. Um, there is one person you can recruit who manages your bathhouse. That's right, you have a bathhouse. What does it do? I don't know. It does something, but I couldn't figure it out. And I actually looked briefly online and I didn't see anyone mentioning it. I didn't look that hard. I'm sure someone must mention it somewhere, but you can go soak in the tub, and there's an option to drop an item in the tub. I imagine if you drop a certain item in the tub, it transforms into some other item or something. I could not find an item that it would let me drop in the tub, so I have no idea what the bathhouse functionality is. I don't know what I missed. No idea. Um, I think this is the recently released HD edition. I've never played the original PlayStation version, but so this is a combination of pretty big chunky sprites on pretty clean HD backgrounds. It looks pretty nice. It's not so it looks like it's redrawn rather than like upresed and smooth, and just looks kind of like a blurry, smeary mess. It looks pretty nice. I mean, there is certainly an interesting juxtaposition between these pretty smooth, high-res backgrounds and these very chunky sprite characters. But it has, for me, it has a charm that I quite like. So that works. Although I would say that some of the water effects are way too high fidelity, specifically the water in Gregminster, which is the main castle town of the game. There's some aqueduct or fountain area basins full of water, and it's like it's got some shader on it that makes it look too good. I'm like, okay, that water effect is that's incongruous with the art style. It really doesn't work. It's not a bad effect, it just doesn't jive with the aesthetic of the game, even the HD aesthetic. Um, the ending of the game I felt was a bit abrupt, but as I was alluding to before, they do have a really amusing "Where Are They Now?" um, title card for each of the 108 heroes. And some of them are really funny. You know, where you watch a movie and it does the curtain call. It's like, James went on to become president of a company that owns mini marts and got hit by a duck at 35. He was okay. It was a small duck. That kind of a thing. Every single one of your characters is like, this character joined the army and uh, became rich. This character decided to leave rebel life and explore the world and find their fortune. One of the one that I recall is the thief guy robs the castle treasury blind and makes off with the loot. It's like, yeah, that guy was a thief. I'm not sure why we recruited him. He was never particularly useful, and he just looted our treasury, and now he's gone. Son of a bitch. I thought that was really funny. Um, um, the epilogue is pretty weird. Tyr and Gremio walk from somewhere. There's a bit of art showing them staring at the sunset while Gremio looks back at the camera, us. Tyr is looking at they're clearly going somewhere, and Tyr's like looking off into the distance, and Gremio's looking back at us. Maybe I'm alive. I have no idea. It's just weird. I'm not sure what to take from that. I found the epilogue a little weird. But overall, as I said in the video, it's an old game. It's 30 years old. Um, it certainly doesn't enjoy some of the more uh, modern mechanics and accoutrement of RPGs we'd see these days. But it's when you're, especially when you're my age, it's fascinating looking at some of these early titles and seeing um, the seeds of mechanics and other ways that RPGs express their themes and stories that you start seeing in other franchises years later, like Trails and others. You're like, oh, so that this is the early stages of this type of mechanic or this type of storytelling. For me, in particular, I think for younger gamers, this Suikoden would probably be a pretty difficult sit. But if you're somewhere around my age, probably at least 35 or so, I think I don't know that Suikoden. I don't think Suikoden would be like, oh my god, this is one of my favorite RPGs now. But I do think it's a game that RPG fans of at least my age can have a great appreciation for. It's I mean, it's like watching old movies and seeing like really old um, uh, styles of acting and how they accomplished different special effects um, before they had before they had computers and stuff like that, or how they looking at silent movies and different ways that they would work around the fact that there was no audible dialogue in order to communicate a story, right? I find that stuff fascinating, even if watching something from the mid 20s is like can kind of be a rough sit. Sometimes it's like, ooh man, this is I appreciate this, but oh man, this is old. It's some of these silent movies are 100 years old now. My sister and I are actually we record movie mandates a bit ahead of where obviously the next we're starting in on Silent Films Month as it happens, and we'll be recording one next week. Of course, my sister and I are such big dorks that we didn't have any trouble picking silent films. We both have lists of silent movies that we want to see. It's like, oh man, silent film. I had to make a short list, and then I had to narrow it down because my sister and I are big film dorks. Um, so I may as well spoil it. I, for me, I wanted to watch. I've somehow never seen a full movie from either Harold Lloyd or Buster Keaton. I've seen clips of their various films. Like, surely you've seen Harold Lloyd hanging off that clock on the side of the building, right? That's from Safety First, I think. Um, you've probably seen that scene, but that's an actual movie. It's like 120 minutes long. I've never seen the movie, right? And I was like, I want to watch either a Buster Keaton film or a Harold Lloyd film, and it was difficult to pick between the two. I'll be interested to see what my sister picks or mandates, as it were. So that is all I have to talk about for today. Tomorrow is my birthday. We will return to Cold Steel 2. We are in the middle, or well, I think we're only on like the second floor of Valflame, not Valflame Palace. Not anymore. It's the Infernal Castle. So I have no idea how many damn floors there are, but I was putzing around just leveling up some characters and seeing if I wanted to buy any more weapons and armors and stuff like that. And I remembered, hey, I should go back and check on the room where we fought Blue Blanc and Duvally, and I'm glad I did. So we're gonna have to go back there. So all right, yeah, that's it for tonight. I need to go to the store and get food, and I will hopefully see y'all tomorrow for some Sunday stream Cold Steel 2 goodness. Until then, have a nice night. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.